Do you have any special memories of Jewish occasions or your favorite holiday?
My favorite holiday, like everybody else's favorite holiday, is Passover. Because we always had guests in our house, and cleaning, I helped my mother. I was very close to my mother. And everyone says we all knew that our mother considered you her favorite. So I always helped her do the work, ran the errands, and helped a little bit in the cleaning, for Passover was massive. We always had guests. My mother was very soft-spoken, and when a lady came in the middle of supper and said, "I'm so sorry to disturb you, Rabbi Berger. I didn't know you were eating supper." She said, "Are you a stranger that you have to make an apology? We consider you part of the family. Sit down and join us for supper." So some of that has rubbed off on me. And I always like to give a loving, kind, and gentle answer to everyone, even when they ask me antagonistic questions. But you are a wonderful interviewer and doing a great job. Continue, please.
Okay. What was your occupation, and how did you come to Altoona?
Well, my father was a rabbi and wanted very much for one of his sons to follow in his footsteps. My 3 older brothers went to very religious schools where they were told it's better not to become a rabbi because then you have to work out compromises with the members of your congregation that may be much less religious than you are. So therefore, my father felt I was his last hope, and he sent me to Chicago to be in a school that was very modern Orthodox. That's almost like traditional conservative, almost, very modern. So there, at the age of 15, I was chosen as the outstanding student of the whole yeshiva. And the head of the school in New York happened to be there at that time, and he said, "You belong in New York." And he offered me a scholarship for 12 years or more, as long as it would take to complete all the training. So I transferred to New York and graduated there. And my friends were then going to more modern. They moved over to conservative, was then very traditional, different than now. So when they went, I was thinking about it, and I said, I'm going to finish yeshiva first, in honor of my father. I completed all the requirements at yeshiva, and then took a year off and spoke to Dr. Finkelstein, the head of the conservative seminary, and he said, if you come here for 1 year, we can give you also a second ordination in 1 year. So I thought it was like a postgraduate course, so I went to both schools, and I'm the only rabbi in the world. Some would say it's an honor, and some would say it's a man who was trying to dance at 2 weddings at the same time. So you have critics, whatever you do. I'm the only rabbi in the world that has an Orthodox and conservative ordination.
Well, how did you come to Altoona?
I was at Duke University and helped Duke University transfer from a tobacco school with no Jews. You hear that? And I was sitting with the president, and he said, we only permit, at a big conference, the president said, Duke University will only want people to come that represent their population number in the country. That means if Jews are 2% in the United States, we will not permit more than 2% of the students to be Jewish or 2% of the faculty. We're a local school for the people of North Carolina. When I came there, that year there was a revolution, and they threw out the board and the president and said, we're becoming a national school and a national university, and Duke jumped up to 25% Jewish and 25% professors. And I built the congregation there. We got all the professors in. I got all the young graduate students in. So because nothing fails like success. You see, when you're too successful, you become a failure. Because I did such a great job in getting very young graduate students who were married into the congregation, at that time I was still in my 30s. They said, "You're already considered an old man for us, because we're getting people in our 20s with babies." And so it went on for a few years, and I was there 20 years. And taught, got my doctorate in psychology at Duke at the same time, assistant Hillel director, and also became very active in interfaith work. And my closest neighbor and friend was Rabbi Eric Yaffe, who was then coming to me for guidance and instruction, and he is now the national president of the Union of American Hebrew Congregations. I haven't not been in touch much with him, frankly, because there was a mix-up in some of the letters, and I'll have to someday get back in touch with him a little bit. So therefore, we had a good relationship with the Reform congregation, and we had the business people at first, but then we became a university congregation, 20 years, doctorate in psychology. There was a feeling that, a rumbling that they need somebody who is like either a very young professor or a very young type of research student as a rabbi. So I looked around, I came to Altoona, I met Sam Port, and he said, "I like you." And the board here liked me. This was in June. I told them I can't leave now because I still have a year and a half yet to be in North Carolina, and therefore I'll have to spend the holidays there. It'll take 6 months before I can come to Altoona. And Sam Port said, "We'll wait for you. We'll wait. We want you to be our rabbi, and we'll wait the 6 months and manage to have visiting rabbis come in for the holidays." And that's how no other congregation spoke to me with such warmth and such enthusiasm. So that is the reason I came to Altoona. And then I shortly met Joel, and we became great friends right away. And also the friends of the Port family, the children of the Port family, are also my very close friends.
Okay. What was your role as the Jewish leader?
The role of the rabbi is basically to be rabbi in Hebrew means a teacher. It means to convey to the people, but in a language that they can understand and relate to you. Not too esoteric, but the basic principles of Judaism, the meaning of studying Torah, of leading services in a way that people understand what the themes of the services are. They understand what the lesson of that week's biblical teaching is. To interpret them, the larger significance of the Sabbath and the holidays. To be able to visit with them at all happy occasions, from a child's birth, and a ceremony for a boy at the 8th day, and for a girl also a ceremony. A ceremony the age of 12 or 13, bar mitzvah, to be there also for them when they're going away to college, if they need some guidance about where to go to